Hello everyone, my name is Relax and Panic, and this is another reaction to That Time I Got Incarnated as a Slime. Or as I just name it, Slime. So great episode behind us, a great episode to go. So if you want to see it, just go down into my descriptions, follow the links, replace the parentheses dot parts with real dots, and enjoy. Once you've done, feel free to come back here and hear my thoughts about this episode. So, see you soon. For those that came back, welcome back. Now, let's see. I wrote down quite a bit this time, and as I said, we had a lot of new informations, mainly a lot of new names. So my list of names grew quite a number this time. So we have all the ogres, or 6 of them, named by now, and as I mentioned, I did not really realize that there was a 6th one, the one in front here in this picture, who's going by the name of Suai now, or Suai. I marked him as Shadow because he seems to be kind of like the spy, pathfinder character, you know? Someone who's possibly good in the woods, running around, gathering informations, and staying hidden. When they were in the village, he was the one standing behind the trees in the shadows as well. So, I guess that is what he is about. And I just realized all of them have very tiny feet. That's strange. Whatever. So, he's one that I did not realize before, but all the others got names as well. I'm quite fine with them. It's interesting to me how different in size they are. So if you look at this picture and you see the princess and who is about to be Benimaru, not Benimaru, sorry, who's about to be Hakuro, so the old wise guy, they are going to, well, sometimes to the belly, especially if you take Kuroba in this picture, who is an incredibly tough and big guy here. So they go to his belly. He is abnormally huge, no question there. But they're incredibly small compared to him as well. And so he named them. He fell unconscious. I like the fact that they did it, that he fell unconscious before. So he just doesn't remember the naming itself. But he did give them all names. And it makes sense if you name stronger beings that you then fall unconscious. Although, I kind of got to question one thing here. We had in one of the first episodes, if it wasn't the first really, the naming of Veldora and of Rimuru. They named each other, you know. So Veldora is in the end a dragon. He's Verudora, sorry. Verudora, he's a storm dragon. When Rimuru named him, I mean, how could he not fall unconscious in this moment? He is on a completely different power level. He should have fallen unconscious. Well, but then Verudora kind of has a name already, right? And they just gave themselves the same last name? I don't know, maybe they tricked a bit there. But Verudora for sure named Rimuru. That is something that's true. But then he is way more powerful, so possibly that's why it worked. It just is in my mind that I'm not sure if they went with this concept of falling unconscious there already at this time, because I think something should have been there, even if it is just the last name. I'm not sure. We will see. So much about the naming. That was cool. I liked it. And naming monsters is one of the major things in this episode, because it is not only Rimuru. So we have another one. We have Gabirn, if I'm right, the prince of the lizards, who was named by Gelmud. So Gelmud is, as it seems, this strange guy who named the orc leader now, who offered to the ogres to name them as well. So, and it's not really clear what his goals are. He's running around the forest there and in the area, naming people just randomly. He named the son of the goblin chieftain in the past as well. So, why is he doing it? I mean, for the orc, he gave him, like, something to do. He said, I will name you, but you will have to, I will rescue you, I will name you, but then you have to take over the forest. You will be my subordinate, kind of. Ask myself if he's like trying to just create some kind of chaos, and maybe to build up like opponents and possible dangers for the stronger races, like the humans and the elves and the dwarves, who have like a society, and who are possibly not so easily taken over by the demons. Maybe he just tries to build up enemy armies, enemy kingdoms that will face against them. Just guessing. Maybe that's why he's doing it. On the other hand, that's just a guess. He might be doing it out of completely different reasons. So Gelmud is running around playing his own game, which we are not completely sure about why and what. But I think we will learn. We had at the beginning of the episode, once again, the theme of food. Seems to follow me along. So it was nice to see Rimuru enjoys eating, and I agree with him. It's great to be alive. And if you can taste food and drinks and everything like that, it makes a major difference. So it is not without a reason that it is considered as a craftsmanship. Someone who can cook really good, or someone who brews whatever it may be, or Keltis wine, or what, they are perceived over history as important people, because taste is something we really, really do like. We got a bit of background information about the ogre village, how they were ran over. When they mentioned it first time, and they mentioned that there were 300 of them, now there are 6. I mean, that is a massacre, clearly. They mentioned that there were like 1,000 orcs, and I was like, okay, 1,000 against 300, you were not prepared. They attacked in their sleep, so that makes complete sense. So I see you had no chance there, especially when they were armored and everything, taken by surprise. If they were not taken by surprise, they might have had a chance against 1,000, even armored orcs, I guess. But then we learned that there are not 1,000, there are 200,000 orcs. So we are going in this episode from small numbers to incredibly massive numbers. Because the last episodes, when we had enemies, we had face-offs, we had like one enemy, or in case of the ogres, 5 or 6. We had, when the wolves came, a pack of wolves of, I don't know, maybe 50. Something like that. There were numbers which were like, you can see them. It's a small goblin village, so the number of enemies are kind of equal. And now we go into an absolutely absurd amount of numbers. 200,000 is just really not countable anymore. So I asked myself why. Because for me it feels like we are going up in power level, in the amount of numbers, a bit too fast. I would have liked it to stay more on this low side that we had before, Rimuru evolving, and maybe the enemies themselves getting stronger, like giants or stuff like that. Or maybe the number growing a little bit, but this number is just absurd. So it's incredibly high. The lizard, however, have 100,000 of their own, so they have quite a good army as well. And I guess they just live in the swamps, so they don't want to have more of the forest. Because with an army of 100,000 lizard men, they possibly could have taken over the forest in the past if they would have wanted to, and they didn't. So that's the one thing. The numbers is a bit too much for me here, but it's okay. We will see where this is going. The lizards are requesting help from the goblins, although those are not very tough beings from what we have seen so far. Goblins normally make it up in numbers. When you see any kind of system where there are orcs, ogres, and goblins, it's always the fact that the goblins are extremely weak, but fast and agile, and they are masses of them, armies. If it's like 1 to 10. For one orc, you have like 10 goblins, sometimes feels like that. So we will learn a bit more about the Forest of Jura, I guess, and about how many goblin villages are there. Because when the king of the lizards sends his son out to request help from them, while having 100,000, I guess that he will calculate that they at least bring up in goblin numbers like, I don't know, 10,000 or more. Otherwise, that wouldn't make so much sense, although every head counts. They got, the orcs got armors and weapons, which, I mean, the demon lord's servant here, the general Gelmud, gave him that, as it seems. Maybe made by magic, I don't know. But for so many, I kind of don't know how they got it. It just makes not so much sense. So that is a lot of preparation that was needed there. And the Lizard King brought up a very important question, which wasn't answered in this episode. And that is, how do they feed? I mean, the 100,000 people the Lizard King has are feeding because they're living in the swamp. So possibly it's like militia in the end. You know, they are farmers, they're crafters, craftsmen and everything. So they're just living there, and when being attacked, they take up their spears and go into fighting. So they are fed by the fact that they are living there. However, if you have a moving army, you either have to live off the land, which with such a number is impossible. You cannot feed so many mouths, especially orc mouths, I guess. If you have like a small group, you can go hunting and fishing and harvest some berries and stuff alike. But with an army of that size, you can't do that. The land cannot feed you. It's just not possible. So you will need something like a wagon train following you and bringing food from your homeland. Back and forth moving all the time, because for such an army you would need an immense amount of food in store. So that's the question. How do they feed? And in the end, and that is something that was done in history so often, you can beat an army of that size by just cutting off their supply. It's just like that. You cut off the supply and they will have to either disband over very fast, or they will have to force an attack to get to your food, which will not feed them forever either, because they will not work there. So the strategy of the burnt land or the salted land is something that is incredibly effective against armies of this size. So maybe they will go for that. Maybe they will go for the supply routes, and by doing so defeat the army without us having a real battle between such huge armies. Because even if, just saying, there would be a battle between the lizard men and the orcs, and the goblins helping on the side of the lizard men, and possibly Rimuru and the others as well, even if they would win this battle, this is not a real win, you know? It's a Pyrrhus victory. Because in the end, even if you defeat the army and it runs away, you will have lost so many people. Even if it goes incredibly well, just say you only lose 10% of your troops, which is very, very unlikely in a melee battle, because that what we have seen from the armies, they're all more like melee armies, no long-range armies. So let's say you just lose 10%, which would be 10% of all goblins and 10% of all lizard men. 10,000 lizard men dead. That is no victory, you know? It is a victory on paper, but not a real one, because all of those are gone. And not to mention the fact that possibly the land there is kind of destroyed for some years to come as well. So that is a battle you want to avoid. You want to make sure you don't have to battle. And I think this question of the king, by stating how do they feed, is pointing towards an option to avoid this battle. Hit the supply. Okay, that's it. We have new subordinates of Rimuru. So the Yogas joined, he named them, and they really changed. I find it interesting how they changed. So if you look at them before and after, they have changed from a more muscular and intimidating form, very burly and strong and fighting characters, towards more soothed, more relaxed versions. They're still looking strong, and they're possibly still very good fighters. But what I mean is the outer appearance calmed down a bit. It's not so intimidating anymore as it was before. Rimuru mentioned it somewhere that they look more. It sounds mean, I know, but more intelligent. So the idea of growing in power here seems to come more with the power of intellect and of planning and everything, I guess. So I'm looking forward to see where this is going. And the question is how much of a jump in their power level they had. We have seen the goblins jumped impressively in their abilities from more neither, running away and being afraid of everything to capable fighters and craftsmen. And we have the ogres now who are pretty good at what they did already. Some of them very, very impressive. So the question is, will they have just a slight improvement? Or is it a real jump as well? Because then, what the heck are they able to do now? We will see. Because they haven't shown it. I see there was a tough decision for Benimaru to join or not to join. Because he is the leader. And he now becomes a subordinate. It's not only him. It's his people. There are only 6 of them left. I mean, in the end, he really had no choice. But it is a hard thing to accept. And that is what he had to do, to accept the fact you cannot do it on your own. You need help. And he was lucky that he found someone like Rimuru who really doesn't put much pressure there. He even gave him this way out later on. Once the orc leader is done, you can go your own ways. So he even had like a timed contract, and the timestamp where it's going for is something that benefits him and not Rimuru. Everyone else would have been like, you have to work for me like 5 years, 10 years, you're 1 generation, I don't know, stuff like that. Or until I say this village is well defended, which you can say whenever you want, or stuff like that, But instead they chose a goal of Benimaru to aim for. Sure, it is of benefit of Rimuru as well, but the goal itself, defending the orc leader, is a goal of Benimaru. So he was very lucky there, I think. And I think that's why he accepted in any regards. Was a good one. We had those. Yeah, we have the 2 more things left. One is, so Gabirn, the prince of the lizard men, was kind of swayed by his people to take over the throne, and he states to do that after the orc army is defeated. He's not the brightest banana in the bunch, right? I mean, he may be quite capable in fighting, best spear fighter, they say, but he's not very clever. I mean, seriously. And there was a moment for some seconds where I asked myself if those 3 lizard men who talked him into it maybe are instead working for Gelmud. Just saying. I mean, it might be an option. It didn't seem like, but what is happening there, He was named by Gelmud as well. So we have, interestingly enough, the son of the lizard man being named, the son of a goblin leader being named, the son, because he was the son at this moment, of the leaders of the ogres being offered to be named, and we had now an orc. I'm not sure if he was the son of someone, but it feels like Gelmud was going for the princess directly. So what was he trying to do? Like, shake societies? I mean, when the prince gets more powerful than the king and more influential, it is possible that they usurp their own father. They throw him off the throne. So maybe that's what Gelmud was going for, just creating chaos. We don't know. We will see. So, as I said, Gabriel is not the brightest banana in the bunch, so I don't really see much of a chance for him there, unless he becomes more vigorous, more negative, you know. Right now, he will possibly be someone that just stands there after the fight, goes to his father and says, "Father, I take over your throne because I'm more powerful." You know, he will do possibly in the open. While being more vicious, which he isn't right now, he could be someone like punching a spear through the back of his father. That would be a dangerous thing. Right now, I don't see that in him, but maybe he will change. We will see. And the last big thing, but I kind of pointed that out now, is Gelmud and his plans. I mean, I had that multiple times now. I'm looking forward to learn more about those. That's it from me this time. I hope you liked. I did for sure. It was a very nice episode. A lot of new content in. And I will see you the next time. Until then, feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. My name is Relax and Panic. Goodbye and out.